This book takes off like a roller coaster and doesn't stop. Hey everybody, welcome to the Diva Delivers book series. I'm Christina, Kristina. My co-host is here today, looking for some loving. Alright, so I just wanted to, she explains it on the first page, and then we'll get into it. Ghosting is the latest trend in dining. Ghost kitchens are also known as virtual dark cloud, zombie, and shadow kitchens. The principle behind them is food by delivery only. They don't have dining rooms or tables where customers eat. It's a sort of ordering from a restaurant and having the food delivered to your home. Okay, now let's get back to the beginning here. So we got that situated. Sophie is an event planner. Her best friend is Nina. Her other friend, sort of, kind of, childhood friend, Natasha. Both Sasha and Natasha, Natasha and Sophie have domestic advice columns. Natasha has a TV show. Sophie's ex-husband, Mars, used to date Natasha. Now he's back to being single. Mars and Sophie's best friend Bernie owns the Laughing Hound restaurant. Then they have Francine, Mars's mom, who also, like her aunt, talks to ghosts. That's it, talks to ghosts. They've got the picture on the wall that she talks to. And so we've got a little bit of excitement here. Oh, well, I had a question. Does Nina really have a husband? You never see him. And I went back and looked at my cheesecake because that's the book that started it all. I read Cheesecake. Oh man, I gotta start the series from the beginning. So please check out all my Krista Davis videos, starting with Thyme. It's been a really good series. I'm sorry that it's ending. Well, it's not ending. It's just that I will have to wait till next year for the next book, as my binge reading is now concluded. We've got some other binge reading going on here, dude. So please, my Arjuna binge reading and my Maddie Day binge reading, and we're gonna do Victoria Thompson binge reading. We're gonna do all those binge readings. And my Laura Kay and my JD Robb. We'll get to those two this week. So, there's this Casanova. So there's this thing, an organization that Sophie and Nina belong to. A healthy. They attend a luncheon, an organization called A Healthy Meal, a local organization that provides meals for less than fortunate children. Now, and this is Krista Davis, The Diva Delivers on a Promise. Book, the newest book in this series. So they're going to the luncheon. Sophie and Nina are going to the luncheon, and they get to the door, and there's a whole bunch of other ladies at the door, and Jerry, the lady that's hosting the thing, is not answering. So Sophie spots Jerry running across the street, going behind her house, going in the back door to answer the front door. She'd ran out of half and half, but she technically didn't run out of half and half. Somebody emptied it on her, but we won't find that out to the end. I guess that's a little bit of a spoiler alert. She had it, but when she went to go use it, somebody had already dumped it on her, and she didn't know that. So anyway, she's coming back from the store, and she's letting all the guests in, and she's got everything set up in the dining room, and they go in to eat, and there's a dead body on the floor. So, did I skip a page? I must have skipped a page. So, they have the police come and all that kind of stuff. One of the guests skips out early, before the cops get there. She doesn't want the cops to know she'd been there. So, while they're at the luncheon, Sophie and Nina are getting all these phone calls, but they turned their phones off. They didn't get it till Mars came to the building and said, "Hey, you're not answering your phone. What's going on?" Well, Charlene's driver. Charlene owns one of those cooking places, and she makes meals for deliveries. And Irv drove me crazy. I was calling him Irving the whole book. Is her delivery driver, and he's missing. Can Sophie and Nina do the deliveries? So they do the deliveries, and then Mars is going to do them at night or something like that. But while they're driving around, they spot the van, and Irv has been hit over the head and stabbed a little. He's got blood everywhere, but he survives. They take him to the hospital. And I should explain that Charlene's little cooking thing, Charlene is Natasha's half sister. So and Natasha and Charlene have different mothers. So then, so they take Irving to the hospital. So then, Jerry, the lady that is the this is book 16 in the series. I did this already. So, and they find Irving. And while Sophie is returning from the back of Jerry's house, she runs into Senator Keswick, who lives across the street. And this will also be a contention later in the book. Mars, I forgot to say that Mars, her former husband, Natasha's former boyfriend, is a political consultant. I had that written down. And it's a family thing. How do I explain this? There's a lot of people here involved in this. So Jerry, the lady that house was holding the event, they owned a restaurant supply place, and her two sons run it, Todd and Jim. And then Todd is married to Colleen, I think, yeah. And they have a daughter, Penelope. And Todd is somewhat of a lazy guy. He hasn't been able to find his foot in any door, so he's causing trouble. And he's got a new girlfriend, Nikki, who is, you just want to, she just drives you up a wall. And she's taking, so one of the little things just to point out was that Penelope is, Colleen is the mom and Penelope's the kid. And Todd's girlfriend, Nikki, keeps taking her out and getting her tattoos and mani-pedis. And, at first, Penelope's liking it, but later on she's like, it's enough. And one of Penelope's friends had a sleepover, and I just had to mention this. This just cracked me up. Who did you ever go to a slumber party where they had gift bags? The gift bag had cookies, a Nancy Drew book, some hair ribbons. Who the hell puts a gift bag for a sleepover? It's just like a birthday party or something, isn't it, usually? So, that's what happened because Todd was supposed to pick up Penelope and have him for the weekend while Colleen handled the the Ghost Kitchen Association meeting convention. And that's what Sophie's doing. She's organizing the convention. So Todd doesn't show up for his daughter's weekend, and Sophie later finds him at the convention drinking with an old friend of his. Then I think it was Sophie, suggests that Natasha be a guest speaker at the convention and show her cookies, which is also going to be a major undoing later on in the book. And so Colleen arrives late at the convention the next day, and Sophie's really concerned. Well, apparently she's a murder suspect, and her husband's a murder suspect, and there's other murder suspects. So by this point we have Russ, That was the first guy killed, and he was killed with a he had Charlene's hat on it, company, the cooking at home thing. So, and Irving, they think Russ stole the hat from Irving to get into the house, but he didn't need to do that because there was nobody home at that point. But the hat was found with Russ. So Jerry and Colleen and Todd and Jim are Jerry's kids, are all murder suspects at this point. They're all being questioned. So then, uh, trying to remember now. They talk about the that Russ's father. That's it. Russ's father was Mr. Everett. They never actually give Mr. Everett a first name. They just refer to him as Everett. He had been embezzling from the company, so they were wondering why Russ was at Jerry's house. What reason? What was he trying to do there, or get money or something like that? So Jerry considers confessing to the murder because she thinks one of her sons did it, and she just wants to confess to save them, and Sophie talks her out of it. So then we see more of Penelope with the mother and the evil, horrible girlfriend. And she investigates Russ. He's a really bad rep. And Sophie talks to Jim, the other son, and tries to get info on him. And they discover that one of Francine is the aunt of Mars, her best friend Betty Armstrong used to be employed by Jim, but when they got the upgrade in computers and Betty couldn't handle it, they let her go. So Betty's got a little bit of an angst, but she's like 75 or 80. That spoiler that might come to a happy ending. So Colleen is upset with Todd because Todd gave Penelope the kid to Nikki for babysitting, and she took it to a hair salon to get a mani-pedi and a tattoo, and it just goes off. Jerry goes to Sophie and says someone is following her. She said a statue was moved from one room in her house to another room, so there's something going on there. Molly has a secret meeting with Wong. Apparently, Wong's ex-husband Eddie is in town, and there's some stuff going on there. And Eddie's got a background that ties into all of this. Then they go. Jenna, the lady that left the party early, confesses that she had been engaged to Russ before her current husband, who's really wealthy and really powerful. And Russ was blackmailing her because he was going to tell her husband that he had been dating her before they were married. And so they have to, Sophie convinces her, go tell Wolf, tell your husband. It happened before you married. You've had no contact since. What's the big? So that goes on. And then Eddie says that Wong's husband Eddie points the finger at Jerry for killing her husband because Russ was stabbed previously by her son. So they investigate all that, and you'll have to see how that turns out. Then they discover that because of the cookies, because of the convention, someone is using Natasha's name and brand to steal their credit card information. So that becomes a thing. Then the senator that Sophie ran into that night behind the house, his wife invites Sophie, Nina, Mars, and Humphrey to dinner. And the wife says that her husband is having an affair with Jerry. And you'll have to see if that proves. You'll have to read the book to find out if that turns out to be proven. So Jerry reorganizes the original meeting that started at the beginning of the book, the original luncheon, and she invites everybody over to her house. And Nina and Sophie go over to the house for the party or organizational luncheon, and they walk in, and and they surprise Jerry that there was a knife in her safe, and they're wondering what's up with that. So then Bernie is upset with all this ghosting going on. Usually people order from a restaurant and then the restaurant has, maybe DoorDash or somebody else deliver. But there's a third party here that's made up a website that, let's say the meal is $10, they change the meal to $20, the customer buys it, and their people go to the restaurant and pay the $10 for it, and then they sell it to the customer for $20. So there's this little ghosting on it. So Bernie's a little upset with this. So then they spot Jerry on the way home. She's all crying. She's confused. She thinks maybe her boys killed Russ. There's a whole bunch of stuff going on. It turns out that the senator's daughter, Emily, who supposedly is in Chicago working on computers, is actually in town, and she's been working at Jim at the supply store because they're engaged to be married, but she doesn't want her folks to know. So Sophie convinces her to go tell her parents, it shouldn't be a problem, that they would, your mother would want to be able to give you away. At that time, Sophie catches Eddie, Wong's husband, putting Natasha's fake flyers, the ones that have been mocked up with the fake address and the fake information, but with Natasha's brand on it in people's mailboxes. And while they're doing this, a car comes by and tries to kill Eddie when he's standing next to Wong. So the next day, they're going to redo the luncheon. So they go over to redo the lunch, and there's no answer to the door again. And so they go around back, and they walk in the kitchen, and nothing's been set up. There's no food set up. There's no table set up. Nothing's been set up. And they walk in the house a little bit further, and there's Eddie with a knife in him. And Nina and Sophie investigate the rest of the house and find Guri up in the bedroom, completely dressed with her shoes on in bed with a blood stain on her front. Apparently that was tomato sauce made to look like it was blood, and someone had given her a almost fatal dose of sleeping pills, and she ends up in a coma. So you have to read the book to find out what happened with that. So Nina and Sophie continue to investigate, and they discover that Russ's mom was Luella, so they try and get some information from her unsuccessfully. Then Sophie tries to go find out about the original fight that happened years ago between the boys and Eddie and Dale, and Todd is dating Nikki, and Dale is her brother. So they try and investigate the fight that happened a long time ago. Emily goes to tell her mom about her and Jim. So then Sophie talks to Jim about the incident at Ruby's, and Jim, tells her what he knows about it. And because Russ was guilty of credit card fraud. So they find out what happened all those years ago at the bar. And then Nina and Sophie go home to Sophie's house, and Sophie opens the garage door, and there's a clown or figure hanging from the ceiling upside down, and the head smacks her windshield and scares the dickens out of them. So Sophie goes out and buys cameras, and they discover what's going on, and you will have to read the book to find out what happened next, who the real murderers are, if there's more than one or if there's two, what the real reason behind all the murders were. Jesus, I have to wash my arm now. Thank you for that sneeze. Are you allergic to me? So please hit the like and subscribe. Let me know I'm doing a good job. I'm just reading books, talking books. I have no special effects, nothing special about me. So please hit the like and subscribe and let me know I'm doing a good job. I really appreciate it. And check out Krista Davis, the Diva Delivers on a Promise. Thank you. And my sneezy friend over here. Thank you.